Hey, good morning, crime fighters and true crime junkies. This is Derek Judd with Cowboy Criminology. Of course, I am your host, the Cowboy Criminologist. So, happy Wednesday to everybody. It's been a pretty good week on Cowboy Criminology. We've added some new subscribers. We've gotten a lot of views, and so for those of you who are subscribing and watching the videos, thank you so much. Uh, it's always a little nerve wracking when you try to create content and try to start a channel and stuff like that. You're always afraid, who's going to watch, who's going to care about your opinion. All these things kind of come into your mind, and then especially when you're dealing with true crime, you think you have an original idea for something and something you want to talk about, and the next thing you know, 15 people have already put out videos about that. But that's just kind of the nature of the beast, and it really speaks to the popularity of true crime. So, not a lot we can do about that. But you know what? There's a lot of good information out there about true crime, and man, it has been a week for true crime. I don't know what's going on in Nashville, but there just seems to be a lot of missing children in the Nashville area right now. And after the Audrey Cunningham, uh, not that it's not still ongoing, but there just kind of comes a point where I have to take a step back from crimes against children, just because it's just horrible, and it takes a real toll, real impact uh, on investigators, and when you sit there and you talk about it. Um, a lot of times when I'm asked who I think the worst serial killer in history is, I will throw out my number two or number three choice just so I don't have to say who I really think it is. I am planning on doing a video where I break down the worst or who I think are the worst serial killers in modern history. Um, Going back, man, that's an open bag right there. But so I want to talk to y'all today about something interesting. So this comes out of Hobbs, New Mexico, Lea County, and a former deputy lost her job after a video of her engaged in sexual activity with another coworker was leaked to other people that she worked with, including her supervisor. Okay, and so I don't want to get hung up on the moral stuff. I read a bunch of the comments on this on the news feed about it, and a lot of people just kind of ripping her for her moral decisions and everything. And I'll be honest, the interview with her, it doesn't really make her look all that great. But let's go ahead and watch the video, and I'm gonna break it down what I'm saying here. Okay, so let's roll with this.
Four New Mexico law enforcement officers are facing criminal charges, accused of circulating an explicit video of their coworker.
Tonight, we're hearing from the sheriff's deputy whose nude video police say was leaked by her own coworkers, costing her.
Okay, so this is what's known as revenge porn, as a violation of the revenge porn statute, and that basically came from content creators like for Girls Gone Wild, and people engage in, obviously, the proliferation of cameras and video cameras on handheld devices have made it where people were engaging in consensual sexual activity, and then something went bad in the relationship, or somebody was trying to harass, embarrass, intimidate, or basically just ruin somebody's reputation by posting these videos online, or even if they didn't get shared online, they got shared to other people. And this became really common among middle school to college age individuals, and it ended up with a lot of suicides. It ended up with a lot of people having to transfer schools, dropping out of school, there are a lot of negative consequences of this. So a lot of states have adopted what are known as revenge porn laws, where if you disseminate intimate images of somebody without their knowledge, without their consent, you have committed a crime. Okay. So that's just a little backstory about that. So let's keep going.
Her job. News 13's Gabe Chavez spoke with the victim and her attorney.
It's been very hard.
Karina Tello had worked in law enforcement for 9 years. She never imagined her coworkers at the Lee County Sheriff's Office would cost her her job.
All of these females are actually, they were my friends.
Tello was fired from her job as a deputy last summer after an explicit video of her was shared from an anonymous number. It was sent to not only her fiancé, but to a male coworker's wife, alleging an affair with Tello's coworker. Investigators say the video was also sent to 3 chief deputies and Sheriff Corey Helton.
So even after that, I didn't receive anything from the sheriff's office or from the sheriff himself.
Okay, so this case right now is going to come down to who can be proven to have originally disseminated the video. Now, it said it came from an anonymous number. That could be a burner phone. There's a million different things that could have come from. Spoof phone number, spoof IP address. Who knows? The interesting thing is, and the thing that's actually working in her favor, is that the video from there was shared by people in the department or within the department by people who should have put a stop to it. And so let's keep going.
Which is disappointing because I really did have a lot of respect for the administration there before this incident.
Tello says this all took place after a disagreement with her superior, Sergeant Sonia Estrada, back in May. Investigators believe the video was sent out by Sergeant Estrada, Deputy Diana Jurado Garcia, a sex crime investigator, and Deputy Eileen Vizcarra, the Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer. A 4th member of law enforcement.
So after a disagreement with the superior turned around and shared this video with other members of the department. Now, what you have to understand about the dissemination of sensitive material statutes or revenge porn statutes, however you want to look at it, the issue is not only who shared the original video, and that for a while was a defense. Well, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to see this. I didn't know that it wasn't supposed to be posted. I thought it came from whatever it was. But in doing this, and law enforcement officers should absolutely have known better, and it should have immediately stopped and gone to the sheriff. Why it didn't, we don't know. But the fact that a supervisor did this to a subordinate, that shows retaliation. And so that actually moves this in favor of Karina Tello. Now, whatever moral failings you want to take, whatever side of that you want to take, whatever argument you want to take on that, that's not really the issue. Morality is a huge component of criminology, but it's not really applicable to Miss Tello, but it is applicable to a sergeant, a sexual assault investigator. Like, how in the world? That's the one that gets me right there. The sexual assault investigator above anyone else, up to and including the sergeant, had a duty to report that and put a stop to that. Because if her primary duty is investigating sex crimes, which this is, why in the world would she share that information with other people? The public information officer, that's another one. It's like, you speak for the department. You have the authority to speak for your agency, and you didn't let somebody know. Now, like I said, this is all going to come back to who can they prove sent out the original message? Obviously, careers have been destroyed, relationships have been destroyed. And one of the things that's, well, you know what? We'll get to that here in a second. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up.
Enforcement is also facing charges. Jail police officer Alyssa Porras.
I mean, they know better, especially being women. It's hard enough being a woman in law enforcement.
Tello says this has taken a huge toll on her and her family.
It's been really hard for me, for my family. You know, it's caused financial strain. I lost my job. I mean, I'd been in law enforcement for 9 years.
Tello says this is a lesson for everyone.
It's hard for me to believe that women in law enforcement are the ones that did this to me. So I really just hope that, you know, people really think before they do anything, you know, what's right, what's wrong.
Gabe Chavez, KRQE, News 13.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop it right there. Like I said, she doesn't do herself a whole lot of favors by not taking accountability for her actions. One of the questions that can be raised, and there are several, but did she know she was being filmed? Did she consent to being filmed? There's another person in the video. Did they know they were being filmed? Did they consent to being filmed? Okay. A lot of reasons, one of the main reasons that these revenge porn statutes were put into place is because you have states that have what are called one-party consent states, where you can record if you know you're recording, you're part of the conversation. It mostly has to do with telephone calls, conversations, and to a limited extent, a very limited extent, photos and videos. But when they are of an intimate nature, you lose that argument of well, I knew it was happening, so it's okay. Yes, you did know it was happening, but you didn't have the consent of this other person. And even if you had consent to record them and it was supposed to be something between the two of you, you still didn't have consent to send it out. Okay. So where was this video from? And the problem that's going to happen is because all of this was done electronically. So there's going to be time and date stamps, electronic coding, cell phone data. All of these things are going to come into play where you're going to see where the chain started and where it ended. And the fact that only the female law enforcement officers that have been involved in this are on paid administrative leave, or in Ms. Tello's case have been fired, could potentially make the sheriff's office look bad. Why is the male part of this video? What repercussions has he faced? Excuse me. Why has he been suspended? Has he been terminated? What is his status? Now, this case can go in so many different directions. This would be a 3-hour video if I tried to break everything down. The thing working against the sheriff, or working for the sheriff, I guess I should say, is because he's a constitutionally elected official. Most states have at-will employment, but there are still rules, policies, and procedures that need to be followed to terminate somebody's employment. An elected official has a lot more latitude because they are constitutionally elected by the people. So if there's anything that happens in their office that brings discredit to the law enforcement agency, they have an obligation to protect the integrity of that agency by getting rid of those actors. Now, obviously, if it's true that Ms. Tello had the affair with another deputy in the department who was married, this brings up integrity issues. This brings up issues of morale. Not to mention the distrust that can form not only among coworkers but within the community itself. So this will be a case to follow. This will be an interesting case to follow to see what shakes out from all of this, because you have the sheriff's office on one side that took action, to withhold the integrity, to get ahead of the scandal in one instance. But if the timeline fits out or works out the way Ms. Tello says it does, the sheriff's office is on the hook, whether they agreed with her behavior or not. Now, had they suspended everybody with pay pending the outcome of the investigation before anybody was fired, if the male half of the tape had been placed on administrative leave as well, it would be less of an issue. So the sheriff's office in this case is actually starting behind the 8 ball, and it's really putting things in favor of Ms. Tello. Now, the issue about women knowing better and everything, this is not a feminist issue. Really, if you know how easily images can be transferred electronically, maybe that's not behavior you want to be engaging in. Or if you're going to engage in it, don't leave evidence. But the thing that kind of puts me off of her and completely sympathizing with her is the fact that she is only concerned with how this affects her, and she hasn't taken any responsibility for the allegedly married deputy. And maybe that's because he wasn't married. But like I said, that's something that you have to put aside. Yeah, you can look at the moral failings and everything, but they're not really going to be important to saying whether she was terminated without cause, terminated because of retaliation, which, like I said, she's got a good case for that. But the other thing is it all depends on how thorough the sheriff's office investigation is and what comes through. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff we don't know right now. And so there is stuff that's up in the air and stuff that we want to think about or what we want to learn, because any new information we get is going to help us better understand what happened and help shape our opinion in the future. Right now, I got to say, whatever you think of Ms. Tello, I think she's got the sheriff's office pretty much dead to rights because of the actions of the sergeant, the sexual assault investigator, or the sex crimes investigator, and the public information officer. Y'all, I hope you have a wonderful week. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share this on your favorite social media channels, and I'll be back with a new video soon. All right? Y'all take care.